Hey Bayek, it's me Ian. And in today's video we're going to look at this. This is Bad Dreams from 1988. It's a supernatural slasher horror film. And if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got 38%. That kind of reflects the sort of rather mixed to bad reaction to this film. I think it's because it's compared at the time with the Nightmare on Elm Street films. And that was reflected, I think, in a lot of people's opinions. But fortunately, over the years, people's opinions have changed, which quite right, they should do. It runs for 84 minutes. It's not that long, and it goes beautifully along. It's great, in fact. Now, it's a first-time direction by Andrew Fleming. Andrew Fleming, this was his very first film, as I say, and he was really fresh from learning film school, just doing some commercials, and here he was with this film. He'd got this screenplay that he took along, that he'd written himself, had been working on, and I'd just like to point out, he goes on to make The Craft, 1996. The Craft, absolutely love The Craft, great film, Neve Campbell in it, fantastic. The other important part is that the reason he got this break, a massive break it was the producer. And the producer is Gale Anne Hurd. You're going, Gale Anne Hurd, who's she? Well, Gale Anne Hurd, she was, an important producer. She worked, I think it's quite clear, with very closely with James Cameron. Terminator, the first one, and the second one. Aliens, she was the producer, and The Abyss, she's got a really great list of films that she's been involved in and producing, and so to get her was fantastic. Apparently, though, the studios at the time were looking for sort of more independent, kind of lower budget films that they could put out and hope to make money, and this was a great chance for a new time director. So, I mean, this is a fantastic opportunity for him. Also, it's filmed in Los Angeles, so you're on the doorstep, and it's those two locations. And now I'm sure we've mentioned them before. At the moment, it just escapes me. But there's the Lakeview Hospital and Brentford Veterans Hospital, which film used for filming here, and they really add as well to the filming. Fantastic, absolutely wonderful. So for a first-time director, he's really spot on with everything he does here, and of course he's been given this wonderful cast. It's headed by Jennifer Rubin. She plays Cynthia, and she's great. But of course, reason why the comparisons, of course, go on with Nightmare on Elm Street. She was in Nightmare on Elm Street number 3. Exactly. So, again, those comparisons were immediately made very unfairly, because the film certainly is not like that at all. I can understand why they think that, but it's not really like that at all. Now, the other members of the cast, we've got Bruce Habert, who plays Dr. Carmen. He's a very strong lead as well. he was in Reanimator 1985, and also the follow-up, The Bride of Reanimator. Interesting, sort of horror background there. And then the villain. Oh yes, the villain is played by Richard Lynch. He's called Franklin Harris, and he's the charismatic leader of the cult. Fantastic. He was chosen, I think, just by his very presence, apparently. And also in his own personal life, he'd had, his face certainly had been disfigured by involvement in a fire, and that kind of added to the poignancy of it all in many ways in this role. But he does such a great job. He's such a great presence. Unbelievable. Just such a strong presence. Then Aris Yulin plays Dr. Beresford as well, and he's an important part in this. Been involved in films like Scarface, 1983, Ghostbusters 2, 1989. Just a great actor involved in all these great, wonderful things. So, what else can we talk about? Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll talk about the plot, what the premise is. I'm not going to go into details, but the premise is that there's been a mass suicide led by this cult leader. This cult, it's like a kind of Charles Manson 60s hippie kind of place, and this leader Harris, effectively everyone burns. It's really quite dramatic when you see this in the film, but there's a survivor, and that is Cynthia. She's only a young child, and 13 years later, she wakes up from a coma she's been in. She's been in coma quite a long time, I know. But she wakes up, and it's from that the film then starts to build up. And, of course, she is haunted in many ways by the charismatic leader, Harris. His grip is from beyond the grave, as we kind of see. And then as the body count starts to increase, then yes, we get the sense of evil is not going to let her go. And this is how the premise of the film develops. But there are quite an important twists to this story, but I'm not going to tell you them. No, you've got to watch the film. Hey, buy it. I don't want to spoil it. That's what I mean. It's a film that you should judge on its own rights, not be comparing it with, Freddy Krueger and all that. No, it's got its own world, its own universe, and the film is really good. It's very entertaining, but it's for a first-time direction, as I say, it shows wonderful skill, wonderful just direction, and the actors produce great performances. And I like it's always good to look at things like cults and that, and this film does a good job of that. I mean, in America, since the Manson thing, then cults have been a fascination and have popped up at various times, and it's always interesting to see in a horror film context how they are portrayed, and it's great material, definitely. And he's done such a good job on the story. Andrew Fleming has done a brilliant job on this. Fantastic. I just think it's great. I don't really keep going on about it, but yes. It's also, there are other sort of interesting sidelines, and one of those interesting sidelines is actually on the end credits. The song that was chosen. And at the time, the song chosen, Sweet Child of Mine, which became a massive hit for Guns N' Roses, was not a hit then. It was new. It was coming out, but somehow they'd chosen it. They managed to get a deal and they could use it quite cheap. And then it all took off. And of course, they hoped maybe that they would do a music video which would incorporate scenes from the film, but that didn't happen for various reasons. But the song actually works really well at the end of the film. Some great music as well in the soundtrack as well, which is really enjoyable. Just adds to that, great atmosphere that you get in the film. And that's great, Now, it was, as I say, its reception has improved over the years now, and now it's recognised wonderfully about. It's just a good slasher film, and it's great. And it's American. It's not an Italian one this time. What more can you ask for, in this period? Oh, we're always used to all these Italian ones. I mean, obviously there's the American ones, but yeah, but this is it's top notch. By it was released on DVD in 2006 on Anchor Bay, giving them really good treatment. This is 88 films have released this fairly not that long ago. 2018 it was released. It's number 37 in their series, which they do a brilliant series, 88 films. And it's got a lot, I'll just show it back there. It's got a lot of really good extras on it. The interview with Jennifer Ruby is something to believe. It's fantastic. There's the disc. There it is. Absolutely. I just can't recommend it enough. If you see this going anywhere, just get it. It's good. I think it's worth it. I just sat back and enjoyed it. And over years since I got it, I come back to it quite a bit. I'm not going to criticize it for some of its shortcomings, because I don't see the shortcomings. I just sit back and enjoy it. And what more can you ask for, eh? I think if you like a good slasher film, you like this, I think you will like it. Yes, buy it, you will. We'll buy it. So anyhow, there it is. That's Bad Dreams from 1988. Yeah, and if you want to know when I produce these videos, and if you liked, what you're seeing, then please give it a subscribe. Yeah, subscribe, and we'll let you know when I produce more of these things. Also, if you like it, please give it a like. It costs no, it helps on algorithms, so they say, and things get here and there, and hopefully more people then can enjoy it. I hope so. We might not do, but anyhow, hopefully you will. And it all costs note, absolutely note. And I do love your comments and see what you think. I do. Comments are great, and I'll answer everyone I can. Yep, I will. Yep, honest, true. Yep. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.